morning, everybody, and welcome to day 3 of our Young Adults Convention. Go ahead in the chat box and type day 3 if you can hear me clearly. If you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, can you type day 3 to give me some feedback that you can hear me loud and clear? All right, thank you so much. Today will be incredible. We have been having tremendous time so far. If for those who have been attending so far, if you have started making some changes in your life as a result of what you have been learning, can you type the word action in the chat box? Visible changes, practical change of your life, activities, routines, habits. Type the word action in the chat box. Hopefully you are not just hearers, but doers of what you're hearing. All right, I see one action in the chat box. Awesome. All right. We're gonna start in a moment. Get your notebooks, get your pens, get your notepad, your iPad. Avoid distractions and make sure that if you're here, for most people who are joining in from Africa, some parts in Europe, it's very early in the morning. It is 4 a.m., 5 a.m. for some people. So if you have made the sacrifice to be here, pay the price and pay the attention, right? For people who are joining in from North America, it means that maybe your normal evening will include watching movies, hanging out with friends, or maybe just going to bed early after a long day. But if you decide to be on this Zoom call right now, or you're following on YouTube and Facebook, since you have paid the price to be here, pay the attention to be here, all right? It will change your life. Thank you, Holy Spirit. Awesome. If you're watching on YouTube especially and you can hear me loud and clear, can you type day 3 in the chat box or in the comment section? If you're watching on YouTube and my audio is good on your end, can you type day 3 in the chat box or the comment section? All right. Good to see you, Courage. Awesome. Right, let's get to it. I have a few things I would like to share with us today. And I pray that I will cover. It's as if every point is important. I was thinking of what to remove, what to focus on, because there's just so much to share. So please make good use of this. This takes a lot of sacrifice, a lot of commitment to put this together. And this just means that there is so much belief that I have, so much belief that God has for your future. All right. I always say that when God wants to change your life, one of the first signs is that he will orchestrate a body of knowledge, a body of wisdom to enter your life. Right? When God wants to change your life, he will orchestrate two major things. There are many other things, but two major ones. If you study the Bible, you're going to see the pattern. Number one is he will orchestrate a body of knowledge, wisdom, revelation to come into your life. And there are many people praying for breakthroughs, progress, and things to happen in their lives. And God is saying, you are missing a very important law. I orchestrated a body of knowledge to come into your life, or revelation, and the purpose of that knowledge, that wisdom, that revelation is for you to act upon it. Then I will do my part. So anytime you gain access to knowledge, wisdom, or revelation, and you don't respond to it, you are procrastinating your own destiny. You are procrastinating your own breakthroughs and your own open doors. All right. The second thing is people. When God wants to change your life, he will orchestrate some people to come into your life. Some of them may come just to give you instructions, counsel, advice. Some may open doors for you. Some may recommend you. Some may give you something. Different people are going to play different roles in your life. And if you don't have the wisdom, the character to deal with those people, you can use your own hands and destroy your own next level and your own new season, right? So for many of us, it's not a coincidence that you're taking this program. It is not. God, in his mercy, orchestrated that in this particular season of your life, you gain access to this knowledge. Because he knows that your next breakthrough, the next things that he would like to do in your life, or he is set to do in your life, they depend on your ability to build capacity and respond to the knowledge that he brought into your life. Let me say it again. You do yourself a big disservice if you gain exposure to knowledge, wisdom, instructions, revelation, and you are rebellious, you are disobedient to what you heard. You literally fight your own breakthrough. You literally block your own breakthrough. All right. So if you have been going through this program for the last couple of days, make sure that you have the right responding attitude to what you have been hearing. Make sure that something is changing in your daily routine, in your habits, in your lifestyle, in what you think about, in what you're working on as projects. Many things should be changing because you are responding to the body of knowledge that God brought into your life. Today, we are going to look at what I'm calling your pre-30 blueprint, 6 areas to master before your 30th birthday. And of course, I'm using these exact date and numbers because it is the young adult convention, but it doesn't mean that the things I have been teaching do not apply to those who are older, all right? And yesterday, in the last session, we looked at the things that you must conquer. You see, in your life on a daily basis at any age, you are always conquering something and then you're mastering something. unfortunately, some people, there is nothing they are conquering and there is nothing they are mastering. And that's why many people get to struggle in destiny. On a daily basis, there is something that you're conquering and there is something that you should be mastering. This is what brings you to the fullness of your destiny. It's a very important understanding to have. See, listen to me. There is tremendous manifestations and great things ahead of everybody. Tremendous. Many people have no idea what God has prepared for them in the next 2 years, in the next 6 months. Somebody, you are listening to me right now, your next 3 months, some things that God has ordained to happen in your life, your mind cannot even comprehend. Life-changing testimonies. But you see, the only thing that you and I we have to do is we need to begin to respond accordingly to what God expects us to do. It's very important. It's very important. Sometimes it is just as basic as paying the price to conquer the distraction of too much social media or movies, and you begin to pay the price to master a particular skill or read a particular book and gain the insight from it. As basic as that. And your next 3 months can change forever. All right? So, and that's why this particular convention is also an encouragement. It's also to challenge you. It's also to assure you that your life has so much beauty ahead of you. And you have to believe that. It doesn't matter your current challenges. It doesn't matter your current difficulties. It doesn't matter what you lack right now. It doesn't matter the pains and the hurts you're going through right now. There is so much beauty ahead of you. And the secrets to living the fullness of that beauty is to begin to understand what are the things in my life right now that if I don't conquer those things, they can stain my beauty. And what are those things that if I begin to master, they can enhance the beauty of my life tomorrow? Type in the chat box, there is so much beauty ahead of me. Please believe it. I am not motivating you. I am just telling you the reality of your destiny. There is beauty ahead of you. Type in the chat box. There is beauty ahead of me. And there are some things that you just need to respond to. You just need to begin to take action so that you can experience that beauty that God has ordained for your life. So today, this particular thing of mastery is something I've been writing about for a couple of years. I have about 20 different areas that people need to master in order to, begin to live their great life ahead of them, especially young people. But today I want to focus on 6 because of the limited time that we have. All right. So today I want to talk on the 6 areas to master before your 30th birthday, or even if you're here and you're above 30, before your 50th birthday, before your 70th birthday, before your 40th birthday. These things can work for you. I am just tailoring this because I am focusing on the young adults within the organization right now. All right. So this is your pre-30 blueprint. If you're listening to me and you're under 30, you're 25, you're 22, you're 20, you're 18, you're 20, you're 26. If you want to make sure that as you're clocking 30, you see, 30 is a very significant age, both spiritually and even professionally, right? And it is very important to begin to lay the groundwork and begin to get some things right. I did not say perfect, because in the process you're going to make mistakes, but those mistakes should not define you. You should tap into them and rewire your life, reorder your life, and get on the right path of life. Many times I have a lot of young people that reach out to me on WhatsApp and sometimes on events like this, and we just have to chit chat. And one time I was talking to a young guy, and I said, your 20s are not waiting rooms. Now, why was I using waiting rooms, right? When you travel in good bus stations and train stations and, you know, airports and so on, there are always waiting rooms, waiting lounges. And if you go to some well-structured offices, you're going to see waiting rooms and so on. And even though there are waiting rooms, there are other rooms that things are happening. There are other rooms that something great is going on and you're just waiting, right? And unfortunately, many young people treat their 20s as their waiting rooms. But your 20s are not supposed to be your waiting rooms. Your 20s are supposed to be your preparation grounds, your preparation battlegrounds, right? Because one of the most important decades of your life is between 20 and 30 years old, because that is the decade that you can use, and you also gain extra benefits if you are raised by good parents. So you build on the foundation they laid, right? But there are people that their parents laid good foundation, and because of what they did between their 20s and 30s, they literally destroyed that foundation. And there are some people that their parents laid good foundation and they built upon that foundation and changed their lives forever. But what am I saying? Before your 30s, you are building foundations that will carry you for decades, good or bad. Before you clock 30, right, as a young adult, you are building foundations that will carry you for decades. So either the foundation was a good one or a bad one, it will affect your 30 to 40 and even your 40 to 50, right? And most regrets at 40 started as a result of what went wrong in their early 20s, mid 20s, or even late 20s, right? And for some people, it is as basic as most of their regrets at 40s started as a result of laziness in their 20s, as simple as that. And that's why, as a young adult, you must pay the price to design your life before the society design your life for you. Let me tell you, here's one thing I've observed. A young adult, if you are not careful, the life you're going to live in your 30s and 40s will be designed by your high school friends, university friends, close friends in the neighborhood. Those are the people that will design your life. If you don't pay the price and begin to design your life before the society around you design your life for you. Like I shared in the previous session, you see, I grew up when I was home. I never drank alcohol. I never smoked, right? I never did many things that, let's say, towards the end of high school, because I left where I was raised and I went to another town in Bamenda, right, to study high school. But at the end of high school, after I graduated, I was surrounded by guys who were drinking alcohol, they were smoking, they were doing womanizing, they were doing clubbing and all of that. And that was my immediate society. And at that time, I did not yet design my life. I was not yet exposed to some things that could have helped me to start designing my own life. So that society began to design me. Luckily enough, I got exposed to some things in the midst of all that nonsense that was happening. So I started redesigning my life in the midst of that chaos. It's a simple reality. It's either you design your life or the immediate society around you will design your life for you. And you have to pay the price. So What are the 6 things that you have to begin to pay the price to master as a young adult before you clock 30? If you're above 30, if these things are missing in your life, start redesigning your life immediately. All right. Number one is you have to conquer, this is the foundation of it all. You have to conquer misidentity and, of course, lack of purpose. All right. You have to conquer that misidentity and lack of purpose. In other words, you have to master your identity and your purpose loop. I will explain what I mean by purpose loop because it's very important. It's something I learned much later on, but it also helped me a lot to understand what God was doing in my life, right? But you have to conquer, you have to master your identity and your purpose loop. LOOP, right? Now, identity is very important. Very, very important. I used to repair computers right after high school. And one of the most important elements of a computer system is what they call the operating system, right? If you open the inside of a computer, you're going to find the motherboard, you're going to find the hard drive, the RAM, you're going to find the power supply, you're going to find small, small cables connecting all these different moving parts and so on and so forth. But if you have all the best hardware in your laptop, in your computer, and you don't have the right operating system, that hardware will not do you good. It is a good operating system in a computer that makes the hardware to actually manifest its purpose, right? Your identity is like your operating system. If you don't find your identity, many things, you can be a beautiful lady, that's hardware. You can be a handsome guy, that's hardware. You can be a tall guy, that's hardware. You can be anything that you can see and touch, basically, that is hardware. But you see, your identity is your operating system. You see, and that's why I always say that both ladies and guys, if you are listening to me as a young adult, and what gives you sense of pride is how you look, I have bad news for you. The older you grow, your body weighs out. The only things that matures and becomes powerful is your mental intelligence and your spirituality. If you're a lady that you feel good, that you look beautiful, you have a nice color, you have a nice shape, when you clock in 45, 50, those things are going to wear out. And if you don't have something upstairs and you don't have the right operating system, you begin to feel as if life is not fair to you because you are finding your pride and your essence in your hardware instead of your operating system per se. You see, so to find your identity, it is to begin to pay the price to understand yourself beyond your physical attributes, beyond what you do, beyond what you have. Basically, finding your identity means that you begin to separate who you really are from what you produce, from what you possess, from what you perform. That is identity. Separating who you are from what you produce, from what you possess, from what you perform, from your skin color, from how beautiful or how handsome you are. I have seen very beautiful ladies who are demon possessed and their lives are a mess and they cannot cast out the demon. I've seen the same for guys, very handsome guys, tall, amazing, every lady's dream, but they're dealing with different things here and there. So you now see that, oh, you see what? You know what? There's more to life. There's more to life than just what we see and touch. And like I always say this, if you see any human being, no matter the age, if that person is struggling with two things, they don't know their identity. Number one, comparison and destructive competition. Comparison and destructive competition. The kind of comparison and competition that can push somebody to get into hatred, bitterness, and even witchcraft. It is lack of identity clarity. When you know who you are, what you truly possess in your identity, you will focus on living your life. There's so much you can do that you will have no time to begin to compare yourself to another human being or even try to compete. You just focus on living the fullness of your identity and purpose. Your identity is your operating system, and you have to master thyself. Know thyself. As a young adult, you have to pay the price to do this. I'm going to show you, it's very easy. You just need to pay the price to do that. And guess what? Many people don't know that identity also relates to, their financial life, also relates to, their prosperity. God is a very intelligent God, for lack of a better word. There are many people struggling with, let's say, finance and prosperity because they have not found who they truly are and what they are supposed to do in this life. You see, if I talk to many of you right now and I ask you to introduce yourself, you see, many people introduce themselves by their occupation. Nothing wrong with that, right? It's in many cases, that is what you should say to other people. But when it comes to you, don't introduce yourself to yourself by your occupation. I'm a lawyer. I am a doctor. I am a CEO. That is not your identity. Those are roles in industries. And guess what? Those roles can change. You can be a CEO today, tomorrow they sack you. If the job disappears, you don't disappear. You see, being a lawyer, being a doctor, being a CEO, being a pastor does not define your essence. There's something more. And your identity is the core pattern of who you are. That's the secret of your identity. What is the pattern of who you are? The secrets to finding your identity is to find answers to these questions. That is the secrets to finding your identity. Find answers to these questions. Number one, what principles guide you as a person? What principles guide you as a person? Begin to find answers. Okay, what are the principles that are going to guide me as a young lady, as a young guy, as a husband, as a father, as an employee, as an entrepreneur? Find principles that should guide you. Because these are gonna come out from who you are inside of you and who God says you are. And as a Christian community, you know that these principles are rooted in the scriptures. The second question to answer to forming your identity: what values will you not trade? What are values that you will not trade for anything? No amount of money. There are some values that you need to carry as a person. It doesn't matter the opportunity. It doesn't matter the amount of money. There are some values that you need to carry that you will not trade for anything. Begin to form your identity from there. Next is, what kind of person am I becoming? Or what kind of person do I want to become? You see, one thing that I did years ago, even before I ever, made my mind to marry my wife, was I started writing the kind of husband and the kind of father I want to be. Started looking at, okay, what are the key areas in life that if I become better in those key areas, it's going to make me a better person. I started documenting them. There are certain principles I live by as a husband that they are not sudden. Those principles, I wrote them down and I live by them because of the kind of person I decided I was going to be as a husband to the woman I was going to marry. You see that? The next question to answer is what mission, and that's just about your purpose. What mission shapes your decisions? What is the mission in your life that will be shaping your decision? What is that mission? There was sometimes, was I think 2015 or 16, my guys that we grew up together, we used to go out, hang out together. They were inviting me for, to go drink. So there was something was happening, and they said, no, we want to go and celebrate this by. So they went to the regular spot where we usually go and just hang out and drink. And my reply was, due to what I carry on my head as my calling, I can no longer do that. The guy was like, you have come again, right? You see, when you discover purpose, when you have a mission in life, it will shape your decisions at all times. And that forms your identity. If you begin to find answers to these questions and pay the price to live according to what you find, you are forming that internal architecture, which is your identity. So as a young adult, don't be tempted to define yourself by worth, no, by what you have, because you're seeing somebody you admire and you see what they have and you want to have what they have, and that is your identity per se. No, finding your identity beyond what you do means that you become a person whose worth, whose direction, whose confidence in life are not dependent on performance. No, are not dependent on possessions. No, are not dependent on applause and likes and comments you get on Facebook. No, your identity is deeply rooted in values, in convictions, and in purpose. That's why somebody you're in Christ, that conviction is part of your identity in Christ. It's part of your life's identity. So I said, one of the things, the number one thing that you need to master as a young adult is your identity and purpose loop. Now, why am I calling it purpose loop? People talk about purpose discovery, and that is good. That's the first place to start. But I'd like to talk a lot about purpose loop, right? Because if you talk to older people, they're going to tell you that purpose is not discovered once. Purpose is refined as you grow older and as you are acting on the purpose. For example, when I started, speaking years ago in 2011 and 12, I thought that I was a youth speaker. I was not. I was just speaking to young people. But you see, as I kept on doing it, and that's why, that's where the law of faithfulness comes in. Until you are faithful in your present location, God will not unfold the next phase of your purpose. There are many people right now, what they're doing, you're not thinking as if that is what you will do for the rest of your life. I guarantee you, there's a chance that if you stay consistent, every 5 years, every 10 years, new things will be unfolding to your real purpose. Right? When I started speaking in churches, youth groups, youth associations, youth conventions, at that time, I was not consulting. I was not doing corporate training. I was not teaching the Bible. Right? There are many things I'm doing today that I was not doing when I started, but I knew that I was living my purpose already. I did not know that I was ever going to travel nations at all. It was never part of, I thought that I was going to be a youth leader in my community. Right? But I began to understand that, wait a minute, purpose is not discovered at once. So that's why I call it purpose loop, not just purpose discovery. You need to begin to master that as you grow older, as you stay committed, as you stay faithful, as you stay diligent, as you keep on doing your best, even when things don't look like there's breakthrough, but you stay committed, as you follow the law of faithfulness, God is going to begin to unfold more of your purpose to you. I'm taking longer on this point, but it's important, right? But let me end with this. Your purpose is refined with five things. Your purpose is refined through five things. Number one is problems. The more you face problems in life, through those problems, as you try to solve them, you will be exposed to bigger versions of your purpose. I guarantee you, all of us right now, what we're doing right now is not the completeness of our purpose. No, there is more ahead of us. The second thing that refines and exposes your purpose is increased capacity, skill acquisition. The more you acquire skills, the more you read more books, the more you attend programs like this, the more you go back to school, the more you increase capacity, God begins to unfold more to you because you now have the capacity to take what he has for you. I always share this testimony. I knew that I had plans to go back to school, but not when I went back to school, right? So in 2017, God spoke to me clearly and instructed me to go back to school and do my MBA and my doctorate degree. I knew I had planned someday in my life to go back to school, but it was not that particular year. But in the place of prayer during my morning devotion, I heard clearly, go back to school, do MBA and do a doctorate degree. And guess what? The moment I got my MBA, some doors opened to me that I never knew I could work with those people. Right? Doors like from the African Development Bank, big organizations, big ministries and so on. I see God unfolded, and I saw a dimension of me across the African continent, in the Middle East, and I was doing things that I never thought I could do them. But you see, that level, that dimension of my purpose was locked. And God only opened it because I increased in capacity. I increased in skill acquisition. It's the same for you and I. So if you're lazy in skill acquisition, you're also blocking the next level of your purpose discovery and manifestation. You see, the next is what I call reputation feedback. This is your purpose. You begin to discover more of your purpose based on what people are trusting you to do. Right? You begin to like, oh, so I can do this. You are realizing that you can do it, not because you knew you could do it, but because somebody now trusts you and asks you to do this and do that. They're like, oh, I can do that. I didn't know I could do that. You're actually acting on that based on what the person asked, not even based on the fact that you trust yourself. So that reputation feedback, what people are trusting you to do for them, opens your mind. Oh, so I can do that. All right, let me try and see how it goes. And when you do it, it works. You discover that you're good at it. Your purpose is unfolded again. You see that? The next thing that refines your purpose is exposure. Exposure. What does that mean? When you begin to expose yourself to cultures, to different countries, or watching documentaries, even watching movies, or you see what others are doing in your industry, you go to events. For example, my career changed forever the first time I went to Dubai. The first time I went to Dubai, I was going to host an event that I organized for people to come and let me speak to them in Dubai. But the things I saw in Dubai, what others were doing, it challenged me a lot. I was like, wow, these are people that have the skills that you have, look at what they're doing. I have also been challenged because I see my other age mates in other countries doing what I love to do, and but they're doing it at a bigger level. I'm like, oh my goodness, look at what they're doing. That exposure opens me up to more possibilities that I did not know I could do. I'm just a village guy who grew up in a small town in Cameroon. So if I allow what I grew up seeing, I'm going to limit my capabilities. But when I get exposed to what others are doing, it challenges me. That's why learn to go to places, learn to go to events, learn to just expose yourself. You have no idea what it will do for you. And the fifth thing that enables you to expose your purpose is commitment. You have to pay the price to stay long enough in that path of life. People that give up too soon, this is my personal opinion. If you are doing something and you feel like giving up and you have not clocked at least 7 years of consistency, you don't have the right to give up. I have read businesses, I've read stories, and that is my conclusion. People that experience breakthroughs, go and check. You're going to see that they stayed committed for at least 7 years plus. You start something 6 months, 12 months, 2 years, it's not working, you want to give up. Are you okay? Come on. Go and read stories. Read. If you're somebody who read biography, I like to read where people are coming from. I like to read company history, founders history. And I notice this pattern. You're a young guy, you're a young adult, you have not clocked 30. You have done something just for 6 months, it's not working. You're like, you know what? I want to give up. Are you okay? You need to respect the law of long-term commitment. Stay on it long enough. And to me, I always recommend minimum 7 years. When somebody comes to me and they want to give up on something, one of the first things I ask them is, how long have you been doing this? When they tell me less than 7 years, I will tell them, I guarantee you, you have not discovered the blessing of what you're doing. You have not. I guarantee you, there were many times I wanted to give up. My best stories and testimonies came after 2016. Between 2010 and 16, nobody knew me. I was in Kubo, basically. Nobody knew me. I was non-existent. I was speaking in, I can show you pictures, churches, villages. I went to villages where a car cannot go there. Just to go speak to young people in a Baptist church, in a Presbyterian church, in a Catholic event. You see, and the more you stay, there are many things I discovered along the way that I didn't know I could do. You see, I've spent so much time just on point one, but did it bless somebody? Did identity and purpose look, did it bless you? These are things that as a young adult, you must know. Even older people right now, they're hearing this for the first time. And these are things that if you master them and begin to run with them, oh my goodness, your next few years will be major testimonies on what you're building. All right, let me go to point number 2. I will try not to overstay in each point because we have just 1 hour, 30 minutes together. And more than half is gone. All right. So the second thing to master, remember, I am teaching on the topic, your pre-30 blueprint, 6 areas to master before your 30th birthday. I'm telling you, I wish somebody before I am in my early 30s, right? So when I was in between my 20th and my 30th, I was figuring all of this out on my own, reading books massively. I wish somebody just packaged all of these things and just communicated to me like that. I think I'll be better than what I am today, right? That's why they always say that's why mentorship is good, because a mentor can take 10 years experience and counsel you in 1 hour, and you do step by step and achieve results in 1 year what your mentor took 10 years to achieve. Why? Because you are not beating around the bush. You are not figuring out on your own. You are executing a validated blueprint. Will you make your own mistakes? Of course. But your mistakes are going to be less costly and less time consuming. And that is a blessing for your destiny. All right. Number two, what is the second area I strongly recommend that as a young adult, you need to begin to pay the price to master before your 30th birthday? Industry focus, potential industries focus, potential industries focus. Like I was saying, you don't build career on thin air. Every career is found within an industry. Doctors and nurses, healthcare industry. Teachers and school owners, education industry. Pastors and ministers, religion, and all of that. Technology guys and engineers, coders, technology, those who own farms and own machines that process farming, agriculture, right? So in your early 20s, as a young adult, one of the most important things that you need to begin to explore and ask questions about is, what are the potential industries that I am going to build my career or my business around? And let me say this quickly. You see, let's say when my mother was 20 years old, it was possible that if she was only a teacher, right? My mother was a nurse. If she was only a nurse or a teacher, right? If she stayed only a teacher for 50 years or a nurse for 50 years, she will still be okay per se. But you cannot make that mistake right now. We are now in a generation, we are now in an age where you need to practice what I call industry stacking. You need to have more than one industry that you are growing in. You cannot just be a teacher alone and expect to thrive in this present dispensation. That was possible 100 years ago, but not possible today. That's why you see teachers today, as they're teaching, either as they're teaching on site in a classroom, they have an online school that they're running. They're doing online teaching. So they're merging teaching and, of course, digital technology per se. You see a nurse today, and she's a nurse, and at the same time, she is running a baby shop or a modern baby shop, and she's balancing her nursing experience and to provide the right, pregnancy materials or new baby born materials for new babies, right? So that is where the world is right now, and that's where the world is going to. And we are in the era of stacking industries. Now, but listen to me. I'm not saying that you should be a generalist. There's a place to be a generalist, but here's what I am seeing that is working, because I like to study industries and and what is happening now and what will happen. So here's what is happening right now. If you're going to win as a young adult professional, as you're practicing industry stacking, you're merging healthcare and technology, you're merging finance and technology, or you're merging finance, technology, and human development, whatever you're bringing together, you need to find one industry where you want to be a dominant expert, is what they call dominant domain industry. So you have your primary industry, then you can have what you can call two leverage industries. For example, primarily your industry is healthcare. You want to study and be a doctor, that is good. Primarily, that is your dominant industry. Now, adding to that dominant industry, you can find two leverage industries, which is, you know what, I'm going to add robotics, technology, robotics into it. Or you say, you know what, I am going to add policy. Apart from being a doctor, I want to be a policy expert in healthcare, where I can write policy that I present to senators and parliamentarians. You get the point? So you don't only have a dominant industry where you're growing in, you have other industries that you're adding to your dominant industry. It will bless you so much and it will make you a better professional. All right. So your dominant industry is You identify this is where I want to be a top tier. And let me say this: in your early 20s, you can have passion for something different. In your late 20s, you will begin to notice that, wait, my dominant industry is not healthcare. My dominant industry is technology. You can switch the two. I have friends like that, right? In the university, they thought that, you know what, my dominant industry was accounting. But as they grew, as they got into their late 20s and early 30s, they noticed that, oh, you know what, not accounting per se. I want to be an entrepreneur. But that accounting is helping them in being entrepreneurs or building solutions for businesses, as you may put it. All right. So, parents, one part that you have to start mastering as a young adult is potential industries you're supposed to focus on. Don't leave it to chance. And that's why at this age, expose yourself. Just make up your mind that you're going to read different industries. All right. That's a good study to do. Just begin to study. Just spend time. Just expose yourself. Okay. What about the healthcare industry? What about technology? What about education? What about agriculture? What about fashion? Just read. Just study. Just expose yourself to them. It's going to help you so much to know exactly where to start building. All right. And let me say this. If you're going to build a good reputation in any industry, you must make sure that in any industry you have decided to build a career in, please don't be a consumer. Don't be just an employee, right? Be somebody who is a producer, be a creator, be a high-level executor in that industry. All right. And a few things I want to recommend greatly. If you have picked an industry, a few things that you need to pay the price to begin to understand in that industry. Number one, I already said it. Number one, make up your mind. I'm going to be a contributor. I'm going to be a producer. I'm going to be somebody who is a player in this industry, not a consumer, not a passerby. All right. Number two, study that industry and begin to find out what are the high level skills that if I acquire in this industry, I'm going to be a voice. Every industry has those levels of skills. What are the high level skills that if I become good at, as far as these skills are concerned, I will be a voice in this industry? All right. And why? Because in every industry, people that make it big in that industry, they have what you can call rare and valuable skills. That means they have skills that those skills are in high demand and those skills are scarce. That's why I always recommend that if you're in an industry, please don't study what is easy. Find what others are running from and study it. There are many people that go to university and then they run from hard courses. They go and take history. They go and take, they do. When you're doing that, you will never be rare and in high demand in any industry. When you are in any industry, challenge yourself. What is the area that others are running from because it's difficult? Pay the price and know that area. You are going to be scarce and be in high demand. And that is what will enable you to convert, what you have into what they call career capital. And some opportunities only come to people that carry career capital. The next thing to pay the price to understand is understand the value chain of your industry. Very important. What is the value chain of the industry? What are the different moving parts of the industry? You see, I have been a lot around the human capital development industry, training, speaking, consulting for so long. I know every moving part of the industry. If let's say you're in the restaurant industry, right? Not every moving part. How do people get food into town? What are the various ingredients that I need to buy to cook in my restaurant, and where do they come from? Understand, the real estate in your business. How do how much does it cost to own the land and build a restaurant like this in where you run the restaurant? So every moving part of the value chain, you need to begin to understand in your industry. Just study it, just research, ask questions. The next is study the supply, the demand and supply of that industry. I always say that when you're studying an industry, study the industry like a king. Don't study like a student. Study the industry like an owner. Don't study like a consumer. If you're in an industry, you need to know who controls demand, who controls supply, which institution is regulating what in this industry. You are studying it like a king, like an owner, not a consumer, not a student. It's going to help you. All right. So, master potential industries focus. It's going to help you a lot as a young adult. If this is blessing you, can you type number 3 in the chat box? Are you being blessed? This is a teaching you cannot sit on once, because I'm going to say many things that you need to sit on again and try to understand. All right. Because this is years of studying and research and just trying to learn also as a person. All right. When I guarantee you, these things are very important for your rising. If you don't treat them as serious, they're not going to help you. All right. All right. Number 3, what is the third thing that I strongly suggest that you should know or begin to pay the price to master as a young adult in this organization, in this community? Begin to pay the price to know how to build strong relationships with people of influence. Very important. Begin to master how to build strong relationships with people of influence. Let me tell you, many of us were raised in backgrounds and families that they train us to run away from people that are doing well in life, from wealthy, rich people, politicians, influential people. It is bad advice and a bad stronghold. It will hinder your destiny in ways you cannot imagine. If you're going to rise, you need to know how to build strong relationships with people of influence in your industry, in your community, in your nation, anywhere you find yourself. How can you begin to build that relationship with the people of influence where you find yourself? And one thing that many people get wrong about relationships, especially young people, is that they try to be liked. If you want a person of influence to like you, that's a very bad way to network. Stop trying for people to like you. They're not your mother. They're not your father. The best way is be valuable to them. You need to play the elite game of networking. How can you position yourself as a trusted, valuable person? That's why I always say that stop chasing role models. Stop chasing social media influencers. Seek for mentors and what we call sponsors. Because at best, role models just talk. At best, you see them on a screen. But somebody can call a mentor or a sponsor. This is somebody that you know them and they know you. And because of what they know about you, they can mention your name in certain rooms. Role models will hardly do that. But a mentor and a sponsor, because of who you have positioned yourself to be before them, they can do that for you. And you have to learn how to build the relationships with these people. And why is this important? Because recommendation and sponsorship is reputation at risk for the person recommending you or sponsoring you. So you have to present yourself as somebody who is low risk, but you produce high output. Let me ask you a question. Who is here that you have influential people around you, rich people, wealthy people, but they have never recommended you? But they know you and you know them, but they have never recommended you. Type me in the chat box. They have never done something important with you. Type me in the chat box. They have never reached out to you for something. There are many people like that. You do know one major reason that they do that? Because many people around, rich and influential people, they are what you can call high risk and low output people. But these people, they like to recommend and sponsor people that are low risk but high output. If they recommend you, you will not embarrass them. That's low risk. But you're going to produce high output because of the value that you bring to the table. That is one way to build strong relationships with people of influence. One other way that works so well is learn how to gift significant gift. I did not say money gift, significant gift. There's an influential person in my network that there was a time that all I did was I saw this platform online that they design tailor-made journals where they can put your picture in front of a journal, they write your name, and they use the first letter of your name, and they create meanings for each letter. And I ordered for that journal, paid for it. I don't think it was more than $50 per se, right? And I ordered, paid for it. It was shipped to her. And she was super excited. That is an example of a significant gift. You just need to be creative, right? And why am I saying this? I said earlier on that if you're going to build relationships with people of influence, people in authority and power, please don't try to be liked, because many people come into them, they want them to like them and they want to consume, they want to beg. Position yourself as a trusted helper, as a trusted value creator. Be the first to give. Let me tell you, it's a secret. It doesn't matter how rich they are, how powerful they are. Be the first to give. Like I was talking to my mentees one time and I said, look, when you are around influential people, please, 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 stop trying to become their fan. That's what many people are doing. You want to become their fan. As if they're a footballer, they're a musician. No, stop trying to become their fan. Become a value creator. Become a helper. Why? Because if you study how wealthy and influential people think, they respond to people that reduce their load. They respond to people that can enhance the opportunities that come into their lives. They respond to people that can protect their reputation. They respond to people that give value in one way or the other. But if you're the kind of person that you just hang around them and you take pictures and selfies, you're a fan. And trust me, they will never respond to you. They will never respond to you. So begin to train yourself as a young adult to build strong relationships with people of influence, in authority, in power, and so on. And let me tell you, some of them are going to ignore you, which is okay. Go to the next person, which is totally fine. Life happens. Even they that are ignoring you, there are some people that they want to meet that are ignoring them also. It's life. There is somebody listening to me right now. You're in a place where your way out of that place is for you to build the right relationship with somebody that is influential. So you need to sit and think of ways to do that. And talking about relationships, let me say this before I transition to the next 2.4, is that please, if you're going to go find life, practice what I call the 3P of building relationships. Number one is peers. Peers, right? Build relationships with people at your level. Peers. Number two, proteges, right? Proteges. That means begin to build relationships with people that are coming below you, people that want to be like you, per se. Everybody's like that. Doesn't matter at what level you are. And the best way to do this is develop them, invest in them. All right. Then number three, patrons, people that are ahead of you. These are people that I was talking about, the influential people in authority, in power, wealthy, thought leaders. These are people that can open doors for you. If you are building relationships across these three levels, you will never be stranded. Peers, patrons, proteges. And anybody can do this. Anybody can do this. And it is going to help you so much. All right. Now, I want to give an assignment to everybody. Think of a very influential person that you have access to, the most influential person in your contact list right now. Think of an influential person right now that you have access to. All right. And if you have somebody in mind, can you type one in the chat box or in the comment section? If you have somebody in mind right now, as far as you're concerned, the most influential person, it doesn't matter their level, but according to you, that is the most powerful, most influential, or most wealthy person you know right now. You have their contact, they have your contact, they know you and you know them. Type one in the chat box. Please give me some feedback. All right, I see one person. So people who don't write, it means that you have a lot of work to do. So much work to do. Okay, let me give you assignments. Now, with that one person in your mind, think of 5 concrete ways that you can advance their outcomes. Think of 5 concrete ways that you can employ, you can deploy to advance their outcomes, to advance what they are doing. 5, right? Then, when you have those 5 ways, send them a message. It could be a text, a WhatsApp, or an email, but let it be written, all right? Don't call, because many of you may not know how to talk in a way that they buy your idea, but you can write. You can even use AI and write, but make sure it doesn't look like AI, all right? Make sure you write something that AI can improve it for you, all right? Then send them that message. And in that message, celebrate what they're doing, acknowledge what they're doing, and then let them know that you are available to serve them and contribute these outcomes in their life by doing this and this and this and this, and send it to them. It will change how they see you. They may not even say yes to it, but I guarantee you, they will never forget about you. And if something comes up, they'll reach out to you. They'll think about you. Because you have positioned yourself as a contributor, not a fan, not somebody who wants to be liked, no, somebody who wants to bring something into their lives and contribute to their outcomes. Try it and see what will happen. Try it and see what will happen. All right. Number 4, I need to be fast. I have 15 minutes to round up this, and I have 3 points to conclude. So I'll be very fast. All right. The 4th thing that you have to do or the 4th thing that you need to start mastering before you clock 30, being a digital or tech native. Being a digital or tech native, right? This This is our dispensation. Per se, if you're alive right now, this is our dispensation. All right. And if you are still, it doesn't matter your age, if you are still treating technology and the digital space as a nice to have, as something aside that is just there, you are behind news. I like to use this statement that people don't know where it came from. How many of you know Sam Loco? I think the movie was Police Recruit. I used to love his movies a lot, right? When I watch Nigerian movies, I watch only comedy movies. So Sam Loco was telling somebody something, and the person did not know what Sam Loco was saying. And Sam Loco responded by saying, "You are behind news." This was like high school. So since then, I have always loved to use that particular saying, right? So if he's of late now, but he was such a great actor. So what am I saying? If you're listening to me and if technology and the digital space is not an integral part of anything you are doing in terms of career, purpose, mission, projects, nonprofit, I don't care what you're doing. If technology is not the center, the bottom, the center, the top, the side of it, you are behind news. And there are two major people right now. There are people who consume technology only, and there are people that produce technology. And people produce technology, I classify them under two: those who actually create the technology and those who use the technology to produce things. Many people are still consumers. For example, we're using Zoom right now, right? And I did not create Zoom, but I'm using Zoom to produce something for you. Many people just consume Zoom per se, right? So we're in an age where knowing about apps is not cool. I know this app, I know this app, I know this app. And so what? What are you doing with the app? What are you creating with the app? Do you know how to use the various platforms to create something? Or can you even create your own platform if you're a tech guy? You see, so you must learn how to begin to use technology around you to create or to produce, to automate work. What are those repetitive tasks around you that you can automate with technology? Think about it. How can you become AI literate and use AI to do more in your career, in your business, and what you're doing? How can you interpret data with different platforms? How can you use the various platforms and create content at scale? How can you do that? You see, it's very important. And one of the most important things that the most laziest person should be doing right now is to be building their digital footprint. Digital footprint. You need to build that, right? This talking about what others can find about you on the internet. If I type your name now on Google, on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on Instagram, what will I see? Listen to me carefully. We are in a dispensation where your current online presence should be your proof of work. Proof of work, proof of thinking, and proof of integrity. Your current online presence should be your proof of work, your proof of thinking. When somebody reads or listens to you or see what you post online, they can anticipate how you think. And then proof of trustworthiness or integrity. People can read and listen to what you share online. They can guess, they can anticipate, they can discern if you are a trustworthy person. Many of you are here right now. You need to spend a lot of time just watching videos about different technologies in your industry. Go on YouTube. If you're an accountant, go and type, what are the top technologies, platforms, softwares used by accountants globally? Find those companies, find their YouTube channels, Go on their channels, watch the videos about the softwares they are creating. If you're in healthcare, you're in teaching, whatever you are in, you need to do that. Expose yourself and begin to understand, all right, with this platform, how can I create? How can I produce? How can I contribute? How can I do this? How can I do that? How can I integrate this into my current work and make it better? Be a digital and tech native. It is not difficult. It's very easy. You just need to have an open mindset, a mind that is willing to learn, unlearn, and relearn. All right. Number 5, what is the fifth thing that you need to master? Begin to study global mobility pathways. Begin to study global mobility pathways. You see, we are in a generation where if everything you're doing is only in one country, you are limiting yourself in terms of influence. So you need to begin to pay the price to know how to go to different countries physically or virtually or through different means. You see, this one thing that helped me a lot at the beginning. See, people always wonder, people know Congo, right? People know Cameroon very well. People always wonder, how did I end up traveling the world and so many countries? One thing that I stumbled on was that I began to understand that there are many ways and there are different things that you can do that can make you travel nations. Not just getting some people right now, the only way they know that they can go to other countries is apply for a visa to relocate to another country. That's all they know. Others, at some point, they know that I can go to other countries as a student. But there are many other ways. Many other ways. But if you don't pay the price to expose yourself and to read and to study, you will not know the different global mobility pathways. And to go global right now is not just about, being in one country physically. All right? Because global mobility, years ago, 100 years ago, it was true. It was only about moving countries, but now it's different. And you need to study and know that. Global mobility is no longer only about moving countries. It is now mobility of income, legalities, networks, media. For example, you can be in Cameroon and you can open a bank account in Dubai in the United States. That is another way of, that is like a global mobility pathway. You never know, very soon it's going to help you someday to do something. You think if two people go to an embassy, apply for a visa, first time visa, and one says, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, and these are my bank accounts. Because most embassies ask for bank account statements to go, as supporting documents. The second person comes and they have a local bank account and an international bank account. That sends a different message to the consular officer. Under legality is, people don't know that, let's say entrepreneurs, you can register a business in the United States and you've never been there. Even then, right? Different things, understand things like that. Another is networks. You intentionally begin to make sure that you use platforms like LinkedIn and be part of international associations in other countries you have never been there. It opens doors to different things that can happen to you. So as a young adult, you need to begin to understand, explore the different global mobility pathways that you can do. You see? And let me tell you something. These diverse methods of mobility, they're a portfolio, they're leverage. You can leverage it and do many things in life. You see that? So begin to think about income mobility. Begin to think about, how can I get a high skill and get a remote job in Canada, in the UK, in the United States while I'm in Cameroon? Legal mobility. What are the various visa options available to this country? What are the various, compliance? What are the various ways I can register my organization in this country? How can I get how do they call it again? Some countries have what they call digital nomad visas. You're a digital person, you can get a digital nomad visa, and it means that digitally you live in that country per se, and you can get jobs that you live in that country, even though you live in Cameroon or in Nigeria, right? Master network mobility, global peers, global communities. Use LinkedIn and join communities, join platforms that will make sure that you are connected with people beyond your current locality. Do that. All right? Do that. It's going to help you. Begin to understand capital mobility. You're an entrepreneur and you're doing somehow well. Maybe you're at a level where £1,000,000, you can comfortably get £1,000,000 out of your life and save in another country. You know what? Create a bank account in another country. Just start from there. That's capital mobility. Get proper advice. You can buy stock in another country. It's possible. You just need to learn these things. And let me say this one thing about mobility is a mindset thing, which is if you want to if you have this mindset that you want to go to another country because you want to escape suffering from another country to another country, nothing wrong with that, but that's a small way of thinking. Please use mobility as a multiplier. It will change your life forever. Don't see, for example, don't have the mindset that if you leave Cameroon and go to Canada, go to the US, go to UK, go to Dubai, wherever you're going to, if you have the mindset that, you know what, let me escape suffering and go to a land that has better, better roads and better jobs and so on. Nothing wrong with that thinking, but is when you get to that place, you're going to remain small in that place because your mindset will keep you small. So what am I recommending? See mobility as a multiplier of who you are and what you do. It's going to change your life, I'm telling you. So you want to make a move and leave Nigeria to the UK, can you begin to see it as access to market? Or see it as, all right, this is what I do. So UK is going to be a favorable ecosystem for me. So you're seeing it as access to favorable ecosystem. You're seeing it as access to talent or access to capital or access to building faster, because you now see that due to the ecosystem in Cameroon and Nigeria, it's going to take you 30 years to build what you have in mind. But if you go to the United States, it's going to take you 5 years because of the laws and the policies. If you are moving because of this multiplier effect, when you go to those countries, you're going to make the best out of it. And the country will not swallow you. You will leverage the country and multiply your destiny and what you're doing. All right, lastly, number 6. We're going to pass time about 5 extra minutes. All right, give me some time. All right. Number 6, what is the seed area that you need to start mastering if you're going to, you need to start mastering before you're 30 years old, right? Personal branding and reputation. I keep saying that we are in the attention economy. We are in the perception economy. We are in the economy where how people see you is important, especially online. All right. And let me say this, many people get personal branding and reputation wrong. Many people think that personal branding is aesthetics and content. It's part of it, but it's not personal branding per se. It's not about posting nice pictures on social media. Some people confuse reputation with popularity. Not it again, right? So, in simple terms, what is personal branding and reputation? Personal branding is controlled narrative. They say you're trying to control the narrative about yourself, your career, and your business publicly. So there are things that you're doing to control that narrative. Reputation basically is the power structure around you. it now affects the way people see you. Basically, reputation is the memory of your behavior. That's reputation per se, right? And in terms of branding, branding is the signal that you intentionally broadcast. That's branding. Why? Because you are controlling the narrative. So, for example, somebody, there's a way you decide that when you post, when you write, that's why you see some people, they like to wear particular colors of dresses. There's a particular signal that they're trying to intentionally broadcast to other people. All right. And these are things that you need to pay the price to master how to build your personal brand and your reputation. All right. And one major secret of reputation, which also affects branding, is predictable value. You have a predictable behavior. It builds your reputation. For example, when your name is mentioned, what do people expect will happen? When your name is mentioned, what do people expect will happen? That is reputation. And guess what? That expectation that people constantly have about you determines your level of influence. So the better the expectation, the better the influence. You see that? And on the other hand, branding is you deciding what you want to be known for before the world decides for you. That's what branding helps you to do. Branding helps you to decide what you want to be known for before the world decides for you. So you begin to craft stories, activities, posts, events, I don't know. But the purpose of that is you want to create a particular narrative, and there's a particular way you want people to know you and see you for. And we are in a generation, we are in a dispensation that if you don't begin to shape the narrative, beginning with social media, social media will randomize you. They will just put you in the category like every other person. So the only way to stand out is to shape a new narrative. If not, the society will commonize you. Social media will commonize you. You see? And that's why you need to begin to pay the price to do that. Now, 4 pillars that will contribute a lot to your reputation and your branding as a young adult if you begin to apply this on today, and then I'm done. Number 1 is competence. Competence. Without competence, branding and reputation is delusion. All right. So before 30, as you're growing older and older, your brand should be built on proof of work. That's competence, because competence should produce proof of work. For example, if I say that I'm a competent trainer, I'm a competent speaker, if you come on my social media, you come on my YouTube, you should see proof of work. You see videos of me teaching. You see events. Proof of work is important. And we are in a generation where many people are seeking attention beyond capacity. Be careful of that. It's going to collapse. All right. If your attention seeking is more than your capacity, it will not last long. Number 2, consistency. And this one is hard. If you are not comfortable at staying long for 7 years, 10 years on something, forget about reputation and branding. I'm telling you. You can go viral in a day, and the next day something else go viral and they forget you. I hope you know that. So going viral doesn't mean that you have a brand. No, it is consistency that builds a brand and reputation, not being viral. Because trust is built through repeated behavior. For somebody to trust you, you must repeatedly practice certain behaviors and then they trust you. I was reading a document. They were talking about trust and leadership. It was a research. And that research on trust, they were talking about trust formation. And in that research, the researcher or the writer said that when trust formation is consistent, perceived reliability increases. So if the things that you do that makes people to trust you is consistent, they're going to perceive you as a reliable person. And that is reputation and, of course, a good brand name at work. So if over time you deliver on time, you speak with truth, you keep your commitments, you maintain standards, you respect time when people are expecting you in a meeting and so on. That consistency leads to reputation and trust. And that is what stabilizes you as a person. Number 3, the third pillar that should be in your life if you're going to master reputation building and brand building, narrative control. You need to learn how to do things around you, online and offline, that can control the narrative around what you do and your life. All right. So you must begin to define things like, what problem do you solve as an expert? There's a way you communicate in videos and teachings or writings that people know that this is the area of expertise. Create that narrative control. Let people know the problems that you solve. Let people know who you solve the problem for. There's no expert that solves problems for everybody. Who do you solve it for? Narrative control. How do you solve it differently? What is your innovation? Narrative control. What standards do you operate by as an expert? Let people know your standards. Narrative control. Number 4, very important. Signal discipline. I'm going to explain. Signal discipline. You see, we are in a generation where, because we are that social media generation, anything that you do sends signal to people, right? So what is signal discipline? It's simple. You need to discipline yourself to make sure that the things that you do online and offline send out the right signal. Because a signal basically is that observable behavior that others can use to begin to study you, to understand your hidden traits or character about you. Listen to me. Every public action of yours sends a signal, either online or offline. Every public action of yours sends a signal about you. So you have to practice signal discipline. Listen to me. See, when you understand this, it will change your life. Young people, listen to me. We need to understand this. Understand this. Listen to me. People cannot see your character. Do you know that? Your character cannot be seen, it cannot be touched. Do you know that? People cannot see and touch your competence. I'm sure you know that. People cannot see and touch how you judge or make decisions. Your character cannot be seen and touched. Your competence cannot be seen. Your judgment, your decision making, your stability, all of these things cannot be seen. So, how do people now perceive your character? How do they see it? How do they see your competence? Simple. You know what they do? They understand these things in your life that cannot be seen and touched from the patterns that they see around you. So somebody cannot see and touch your competence, but you know what they can do? They can go open your Facebook. You know why? Because online behavior equals public data. And if your Facebook is empty and not speaking sense, they're going to say that, oh, this person has nothing to show. There's no competence. They have nothing to show to anybody, so they cannot trust you. If they see something, they're going to use the patterns, the data they're seeing, then they're going to decide your character and your competence. It's the same way like in your communication with your friends, with your family members, at work, in church, in school, wherever you find yourself. Somebody may not see your character, may not touch your competence, but if they follow you for 3 days, 5 days, hear how you talk, hear how you respond to people, see how you act, they can begin to understand your character and your competence. All right. So be careful of the signals that you're putting out. How you speak, both online and offline, what you criticize, what you amplify. Do you know that what somebody criticizes says a lot about their character? Do you know that what somebody amplifies? For example, if I come on your Facebook page or LinkedIn and I see the post that you share on your timeline, that is what you're amplifying. It tells me so much about you. Who you associate with is signal. Your closest friends, where you go to, is signal. How you respond when somebody speaks to you in good terms or in bad terms is signal. So if you're going to build reputation and branding as a young adult, please practice signal discipline. As a social media generation, before posting, can you just ask yourself, if a future investor sees this, if my future employer sees this, if a girl I want to ask out see this, if a boy that is asking me out, if he decides to check me out, if they see this in 2 years, in 5 years, in 10 months, will it strengthen my brand and my reputation, or will it weaken my brand and my reputation? Can you begin to ask yourself that? It's very important. All right. So practice signal discipline, and it will help you tremendously in ways you cannot imagine. So these are the 6 ways that I challenge you, 6 areas that I strongly believe as a young adult, if you begin to pay the price to master these 6 areas, your life is going to have a beautiful trajectory years and years after. I believe you were blessed. You learned something that will make you a better person and so much more today and, of course, in the near future. And hopefully, when we meet somewhere tomorrow, you will say, my life got better because I learned this and I was practicing what you shared with me. Quick announcement, and then we are gone. Tomorrow is our last day. I originally planned this to be 2 days, but the feedback and what I saw that I had to share was more than I had 2 days teaching, but I felt that if I don't share some other things, I will not do justice to this particular program. All right. So tomorrow is our last day, and your life will never remain the same. Please practice these things, and they will help you. As I said, I would like to answer some questions tomorrow. All right. So if you have questions for me, click that link on your chat box. If you're watching on YouTube, I'm going to share a link on I'm going to share the link on YouTube. Please, if you have questions for me, click that link and you can fill your question, and we will happily answer your questions tomorrow. If we have more questions, thank God we have a WhatsApp group. We'll create a special day for me just to answer all the questions that people ask. I know that when I do this, I get tens and tens of questions. But thank God that some are repeated questions, so we can answer 5 people's questions in one response. All right, people. God bless you, and see you tomorrow, same time. Invite somebody so that they can be blessed with this. Cheers.